Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. I'm Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And I am just watching these peaceful, lovely fall days kind of fading, and winter will soon be approaching. I am going today to just share with you some of my daily do's and a lot of cooking and baking and Thanksgiving preparation that I have been doing. We are surrounded by so many fir trees, and one of the crazy things about that is they lose their needles all the time this time of year, and so I'm constantly having to vacuum. It's an almost daily job to vacuum and to keep up with that because we tend to drag them in the house, and they're on our shoes, they're on our socks. They just get everywhere, and so it's become one of my like I said, almost daily to-dos that I do. And I find too that if I can clear off the porch and sweep them, that just helps eliminate what actually eventually starts coming into the house. One thing about this time of year is that I really love to cook and to bake. It just makes the house feel warm and cozy. It makes everything smell delicious. And so I have been doing a lot of that. I like to get up early and get those daily do's done so that I can put my apron on and head into the kitchen. I recently had a whole lot of fun with this Amish cookbook. It's called Amish Friends Cookbook. I reviewed it in a past video and decided to just try making some recipes with it. And this one is a potato sausage pie. I didn't have sausage, but I did have some cooked hamburger left from a previous meal. And boy, I tell you, this was so good and so easy to make. You just kind of mix up the potatoes, the grated potatoes there, and then they form the pie crust. And then you pop it in the oven and bake that for, I don't remember, maybe 15 minutes at that point. Then while that's baking, I mix together the eggs and the milk along with a little bit of salt and pepper. After the pie crust comes out, or the potato crust comes out of the oven, and then you're going to start to layer the other ingredients, which is cheese and your meat, your onions, and then you take your egg and milk mixture and just pour that over and pop it back in the oven for a bit. And when it comes out, it looks absolutely delicious. I improvised one of the other recipes for pickled beets, reducing it and using canned beets. Their recipe called for fresh. And so that was my side dish to go with this. I served that pie with some pickled beets. And then the day before, I had made some molasses raisin cookies, also from that book. And that was our Amish meal that night. I am really excited to share this next recipe with you. This is called a Pan Pie Crust, and you make the whole thing in the pie plate. This was sent to me by one of you ladies, Adrian. Thank you, Adrian, so much. I just loved this pie crust. This is hands down the easiest pie crust I have ever made. It turned out absolutely delicious, and I would definitely make it again. And I'll leave a link to one that I found in the on the internet, just so that you guys can see this recipe, because I tell you, to me, it's like a total game changer when it comes to just needing a bottom crust. It is not something that you could roll out, apparently, but it is certainly something that you can form and shape right in the pan. And I ended up that day making a brown sugar pie with it. And see, I mean, isn't that so cool? It's all ready to go. I will also share the link. All the recipes and things that I am sharing today, I will be sharing with you in the description box below. So make sure you check that out. But this brown sugar pie was also super easy to make. And it's, just think like pecan pie without the pecans. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And we thoroughly enjoyed it. From now on, this will definitely be my go-to pie crust recipe. The other day I had a butternut squash that I wanted to do something with, and usually I'm trying to find some, clever recipe or something to make with butternut squash. Instead, this night I had a leftovers casserole that I had made, and I just decided I was going to roast this. And that was so easy and so amazing. And in fact, my husband has requested that I do it again. So last shopping trip, I bought another butternut squash for that. After I had sliced it, I just brushed it with some olive oil on each piece, and then I sprinkled it all with some salt and some pepper. And then for just a little something different, I had some pumpkin pie spice that I had made and used in a previous recipe, and I just sprinkled a little bit of that on each piece. And then I took some brown sugar, and just a tiny bit, I just sprinkled a little bit of brown sugar on each piece, roasted it in the oven. Don't remember the temperature right now as I'm recording this, but I will certainly link that also below. This turned out perfect and went along great with my leftover casserole. A few days ago, it was time for me to turn my attention towards Thanksgiving preparations. The first thing I did was start by making some dinner rolls. Now, I make as many things as possible ahead of time, and I freeze them. So I made these dinner rolls, and they are right now in the freezer. I think one of the biggest secrets to making nice soft dinner rolls is to leave your dough kind of sticky. I think if you have too much flour, they're going to end up being too dense. These rolls ended up turning out fantastic. The recipe made 2 dozen, unless I doubled it. I can't remember. Again, I'll share that recipe link below too. But these, we had some that night because I had made some soup, and then I put the rest of them in the freezer. But these were the softest and most tender dinner rolls I think I've probably ever made. The next day, I turned my attention to making the stuffing for our dinner. I typically have stuffed my birds, my turkeys in the past, and this time I decided not to. I've always made, because I've usually had such large crowds, I've always made extra stuffing and put that into a crock pot. This time I'm just making the Crockpot Stuffing that I have made so many times in the past. It is so easy because you just mix it, make it, and then you end up putting it into a Ziploc bag, into the freezer. I pull it out on Thanksgiving Day and put it into the crock pot so that it can slowly warm up while the turkey is cooking. Another meal that I make for our Thanksgiving dinners is my own spiced cranberries. I have found that once you make your own, you can never go back to the can again. Even my daughters, so many of them will make their own because there is just nothing like it, and it's so easy to do. It's sugar, water, spices, which are cinnamon and cloves, and the whole process does not take long at all, and it makes this delicious, beautiful, dark red spiced cranberries that tastes amazing. At this point, the last thing that I made was my mashed potatoes, and I did about 5 pounds of potatoes. Even though we're not having a big crowd, I'm hoping for leftovers because I have a couple of my sons here, and they would absolutely love to be able to take home leftovers with them, and so that's kind of what my goal is. But I got all these mixed up, kind of used my favorite method, which adds lots of butter and salt, and then I use canned milk. I've also used half and half. I've used cream. The canned milk is just easy to have on hand, and it makes a really creamy, delicious mashed potato. And for freezing, what I found is that I tend to add more milk than you might if you were going to serve them right away. I take them out of the freezer the night before Thanksgiving and defrost them in the refrigerator. Then I put them in my crock pot. I put a little milk at the bottom of the crock pot and then just leave them on warm as we get prepared for our dinner. I really want to thank you for taking the time to stop by my little homestead and spend some time with me. I appreciate you so much. Your visits, your comments, and just the time that you have spent with me. It means a lot to me, and I thank you so much. I hope you and your families all have a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving Day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.